So I just finished recording my Becker collection video, and I'm looking at this knife here, and I'm like, I feel bad even putting it away in the condition it's in. And really what I want to do to clean it up is not going to take much. So I've got a little bit of time, and that's what we're going to do. That's what I'm going to do. You can go do what you want, but if you want to watch, stay along and join. So I've got just some of these little wire wheels. These are just really cheap ones off Amazon. They are not the best quality. They throw wires like crazy, but at a low speed, it probably won't damage. I say probably because I've not done this yet, but it probably won't damage that epoxy paint. So we're going to give it a try. Safety glasses, because like I said, they throw wires like crazy. So I really don't want one in my eye. I'm a fan of being able to see my hobbies and what I what I want to do, so I don't really want to go blind to a wire wheel incident. So it looks like the most of the rust, a little bit on the BK-16 logo. We'll see if that cleans up maybe a little bit. I'll clean up the edge here a little bit. Alright, so that, the brass is so soft, whenever you clean up something with it, it leaves kind of like a brass dust behind. So you can kind of see that everywhere where I touched it up. And the edge has been sitting long enough that I do have a little bit of pitting at the edge. That's okay. It'll sharpen out. It'll be fine. Yeah, I think that's okay for now. I think I'm just going to clean it up with a little bit of alcohol and some paper towels. And then we'll take these handles off and work on getting those cleaned up. It looks like some of that brass is kind of left behind in the, even after cleaning up, kind of left behind in the epoxy paint. That's all right. It's not going to hurt anything. All right, let's take these handle scales off now. You can see those definitely got rusted and crusted up. I'm not going to throw them out. The hardware's still perfectly good. I'll save it, but like I said, I do want to replace it with some stainless. And the paint that's on the blade, it's it's not designed to last for forever. It's a protective coating that'll keep it from rusting for a while, but as that paint wears and that blade's getting used, you're going to have spots that are going to patina and rust if you don't take care of it. Just clearly what's happening here. But that's all right. We're getting it back in fighting shape. Well, usable shape. I'm not fighting anything with it. So you can see inside here, that's some old tallow from whatever the last deer it was that I used it on. So it's been sitting there a while. All right. So we'll clean that all up. That's kind of one of the nice things about the removable handle scales too, is you can take them apart, clean them. You can, hell, you could throw these handle scales in the dishwasher if you needed to. I don't recommend doing it with the whole knife, but you probably could and it would be fine. All right, so all our individual pieces are cleaned up. You know, I don't know why I hadn't done it sooner. It only took me, less than 10 minutes. Yeah, so really what's left is putting it back together, which I'm going to use the new hardware for. And I need to shorten the bolts on these, because the ones I got are a little bit longer than the originals. So, got to shorten them up a bit and throw it back together. That's pretty much it. And if you've never shortened up a bolt with or on a belt sander, it's a good idea to throw a nut on there first, so that after you shorten it up, when you take the nut off, it kind of cleans out those threads a little bit. Otherwise, if you try to put the bolt or nut back on after you've shortened it without cleaning up that edge a little bit, or if you got a die, you can chase it with that and it'll help. But lazier way of doing it is just throwing the bolt on there first, so it cleans off that little burr at the edge after you kind of grind it down a little bit. So I'm going to take this over the belt sander, shorten them up a little bit quick. We'll bring it back when we're done. Okay, so we're back. That's still very hot. That I can touch. So we've got our handle scales. We'll drop our nuts in on that side. That one's still warm. I just kind of eyeballed it. Hopefully I shortened them up enough. I'm not going to tighten them up fully until I get all three in, and then I kind of get because there's a little bit of play, not much, and kind of the alignment of the handles. So I'm going to wait to get all three in before I kind of torque them down. Probably could have stayed a little longer on that one. Maybe I'll try a different screw. A bit longer. Maybe a touch. Alright, so now they're all in, kind of. Yeah, there really isn't any wiggle room, but it's also lining up well, so just torque it down. Now, doesn't that look nice? They stand out a little bit more than the black ones, the black oxide ones, but they should also not rust as easy. So we've got that. If you're really concerned with how they look, you can always heat this up with a torch, dunk it in some oil, and it'll darken them up a bit too. They probably just darken up with just heat too. But for this, I'm not concerned about it. This is a 100% user utilitarian knife. The micarta is pretty, but it's for grip. It's and comfort. It's just a tiny little bit of thickness, and when your hands are in less than ideal circumstances, the micarta still stays grippy, which is nice. So All right, that thing's noisy, but you can see here, maybe you can't, hopefully you can see here, we've got a decent edge on here, and you can see at the very edge, we've got a burr raised. So I'm happy with that. Now we're just going to move up through some grits. And that was 400. I'm telling you, these little 1x30s are handy for so many things in the shop. And they're not expensive at Harbor Freight. They're not high quality either, but they're just super handy. Yeah, I recommend picking one up. They make a mess. They do. I mean, I've also got the dust cover off, but whatever. I enjoy having it in the shop because it's useful, so... Alright, we'll call that good for 600. And we'll do 800. Alright, that edge is looking really nice. You can see, as I was laying that edge down, some of that epoxy paint, sanded away with it, so that's alright. We got we're raising a nice bevel on that, all that pitting's gone. That looks nice and even. Feels just toothy enough. It's good. Strop it a few times and give it a test. Alright, so we've got our knife that's mostly sharpened up. Got our little strop here. I just cleaned off the side. I usually keep the one side not loaded with anything to just help clean off the edge, and then the other side I load with this polishing compound. This is super old, as you can tell, but it works. Helps if I actually put it in the camera. It's going to warn off a bit of shining to something, high gloss, finishing, hard metals, soft metals, nickel chrome, plastics. Either way, whatever this white stuff is, it says H. I've found it works really well for sharpening compound. So just load the strop up with it. And you can tell I use it on the buffing wheel too. This one tube, which it's probably like this far has lasted me super long time. All right, and just strap away. And this is just a homemade strop. It's a piece of cheap oak from Depot or something like that, Home Depot, with some hobby store leather glued onto the side and then just sanded, but works really well. What I'm doing is just using the light from the camera to look down the edge to see if there's any spots that bounce back, indicating that I haven't gotten rid of the burr there. There's dust and stropping compound and stuff on there, but overall I think we've got a good edge. And then after I'm done with the side that I've loaded with the compound, I usually just go over to the empty side. And just kind of clean it off a little bit. Because sometimes the buffing compound gets stuck to the edge a little bit. This is kind of like a waxy consistency if you're not familiar with it. So, all right, I like it. And it's not a perfect beveled edge. It's with the slack in the belt, it's actually a tiny bit convexed, which I'm okay with. It's a really durable edge. I know in the other video, I don't know which one I'll post first, but this is my BK9, and I convexed this edge, and it is held up to everything. I mean, I've convexed this once, and then I think just stropped it. And that's heavy chopping through dirty bark, and you can tell this thing needs to be cleaned up too. But this steel performs very well. I know it's not a fancy, super steel. It's not some fancy, M390, whatever, LMAX, all that stuff. But it's hard to go wrong with a good tempered, good heat treated, high carbon steel. And that's exactly what Ka-Bar does with the 1095 that they use. It's made to work, and it does. So, all right, enough babbling. Look at that. That's a nice looking knife. Maybe we'll do a little test on camera to see if it'll shave some hair. Oh yeah. Hair's just running from it. Look at that. Very nice. Let's grab a piece of hardwood here too. Grab something out of the kindling box. This is some silver maple, sugar maple, something like that. I'm not good at making feather sticks, but it cuts. See, no light bouncing back, no rolling. Still shaving sharp. Yeah, good stuff. All right. Feel better about putting that back in the sheath. I've got a little bit of beeswax here. Just gonna take and just run the edge through it. Just to protect it a little bit. I really should make some of that like mineral oil beeswax mix to kind of use on some of the tools out here. But yeah, that's done. Go back in our sheath now. I can sit there for another 5 years until I actually get a hunting again. You guys with kids probably know. You understand. It's rough, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. All right, guys. appreciate you watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Like I said, I don't know how well the knife content's going to do, but it's part of what I enjoy, so hopefully it's part of what you enjoy too. So thanks for watching and staying tuned. If there's anything else you guys want to see me do, let me know. Let me know what piques your guys' interest. Thanks for watching, everyone.